Hello, Teacher Stephanie here, and I just wanted to give my tips and tricks for new teachers because I just started about three or 4 weeks ago. I remember when I started, I had a million questions, and so I just wanted to give some tips to those who are new or kind of just starting out. So I've taught 55 classes so far, and I have a 1-year-old, so it's nice because I can just do this 2 hours a day while he's still sleeping. Like he's still asleep right now. So it's really easy for me. So the first thing I want to talk about is the booking rates. That seems to be the thing that concerns new teachers the most, is they want to know how many classes they're going to be getting. I have found that for me, I've gotten about 90% of my available spots filled. And if they don't fill up right at Monday at noon in Beijing time, which is the earliest that parents can book you for the next week, they tend to kind of trickle in during the week. Sometimes, students will cancel though, like they can cancel early, but I found that a lot of those spots that end up opening back up again get filled before the week starts. So it all works out. So my tip is that if you are going to open up your availability and have like a ton of spots open, um, I would recommend that you should schedule a break for yourself about every 3 or 4 time spots until you get used to teaching back to back more. Because if you're new, it might just be overwhelming to have like 8 classes back to back. Um, so and I don't claim to understand all that goes into factoring your booking rates, why some people seem to have a lot more than others. I don't know. I do know that the parents can look at our teacher profiles on their website and they can see the pictures that you uploaded when you were first hired. They can see your bio that you wrote about yourself. And if you created a welcome video when you were first hired, they can see that. So, there's other options you can do for marketing. We did receive an email about that recently. You can either write an article about kind of like your experiences so far teaching at VIPKID. You can record yourself reading a story to the kids, or you can create a short video showing kind of how you teach and things like that. Also, I've heard that the parents can rate us teachers, and I'm assuming that over time you'll have a rating that they kind of go off of too. So it's important to make sure that you are impressing not only the students but the parents of the students, since they're usually the ones who choose the teachers. I've also heard that from the seasoned teachers that I've heard that if you teach the trial classes more, you'll get students who you're the first teacher they ever had, and they end up booking you again and again. They become your repeat student. And so that's kind of a good thing about being trained to teach trial classes. There's other things you can do, like for instance, open classes or seasonal classes, but I haven't looked into those too much to know kind of how available those are and how helpful they will be. Okay, let's talk about setting up your classroom. So I am currently in the process of setting up my classroom the way that I want it. I consider it to be my virtual classroom, so I've got ideas about, putting a blackboard up and doing like a border and making it look cute. I don't know. So, but there are some really important things that you must have to set up your classroom. The first one is a good webcam. And I would try to avoid using the webcam that came with your laptop. They tend to be a little bit less good quality than an external webcam that you can purchase. So for instance, I have a Logitech webcam that's just clipped onto my monitor, and I find that it's a lot better than the one that came with my Surface Pro tablet. It's very bad. It looks like red and it's not good. So I use the Logitech one. Also, the angle that you put your webcam, try to do at least eye level or higher. It doesn't look good to have it below. I mean, when you're taking a selfie, you don't take a selfie like this. That would not look good. So, a little bit above or something. Also, good lighting. I have a light right above me in this room, and then I have like a floor lamp also on from that direction. Just helps keep everything bright. A good headset. I am using this big bulky one from Logitech, but I like it. Um, I used to work at a call center, so I'm used to having these kinds of headsets. But I know that a lot of people use the earbud type, which I think that looks better. But for me, the earbuds always fall out and it bugs me, and I'm always like bouncing the microphone against my shirt, and I just don't like it. So I like this one. Um, oh, also think about the background of your virtual classroom. I knew that I wanted mine to look kind of like a classroom. I used to teach, middle school, so I like to have like the whiteboard, makes me feel like I'm in a class. But you don't have to have the wall right behind you. Um, I turned my desk around to make it a little classroom, just to make it what I wanted. Try to avoid having a really open background where you can like see people walking behind you and you can like see your messy house or whatever's going on behind you. Try to avoid that. And one thing that I kind of an idea that I stole from another teacher is to write the student's name on your board before class starts. I think that's a good idea because it helps them feel like the classroom is just for them and they feel more important, which they are. It is just for them. So having their name on there is just an extra personal touch to help out. And props. I know we're required to buy a couple of props, but I think most of us have bought more than just a couple props. I go to like thrift stores, I get things there, and I just find things around the house. Thankfully, with my 1-year-old, I can steal a lot of his toys. But I have, you know, I have things all set up right next to me on like another table, and I have, a thing of fake food. There's a lot of food vocab. I have stuffed animals in one basket. I have my flashcards and just other little things. And then my magnet letters are all on my whiteboard down here in order, so I can just grab them real quick. Okay, and so let's talk about the lesson prep. I would wait until it gets closer to your lesson, or I would say just the day before your lesson's supposed to be, before I start prepping, because I find that if you try to prep earlier, like a couple days in advance, you might be looking at the previous lessons PowerPoint that's loaded in there, and because they don't go through and update those until like either a couple days before or a day before, whenever they do it. But if you're not sure if you're looking at the right PowerPoint, you can compare the name of the PowerPoint to what it's supposed to be. But what I do is I write out a little script for myself. I have a template, a Word document template that I use for myself, and I copy the lesson description and the vocab. I write down a list of supplies that I might need, and then for every single slide I write down basically exactly what I'm going to be saying, the gist of it. I kind of shorthand it. And I do that, and it takes a little bit of time, but I do that because then I feel more prepared. When I'm going to bed at night, I can sleep easier knowing that I know exactly what is on the slides. And it's also good to reduce our incidental language, like going, okay, next, it's just like, I learned that also from the call center, try to avoid those things. And then I go through and just write all the things down. And then I have a bunch of lessons now. I've got 50 something lessons already written down. So the best feeling in the world is when you open up a new person's lesson to prep for it and you realize that you've already done that lesson and you don't have to do any prep at all. You know exactly what supplies you're going to need. Pull those out beforehand. It's really easy. So, okay, how can you get answers to your questions? So there's a few different places that you can go to get answers. First, I would say before you ask questions, try to research a little bit beforehand to see if someone has already asked a similar question, because we're always getting new teachers and it just seems like the same questions get asked over and over again, which is not a bad thing, but it's just the first place that I would go to look is the Facebook group. You can search in the Facebook group for key terms like the word no-show or the word assessment or booking, and you'll see the past conversations that have already happened about those topics. You can also look on Freshdesk and search in the top for the same keywords, and you'll see maybe a forum conversation has already happened or an article that's been put out by VIPKID. I know one really good resource is the Survival Guide to the Fireman. Yeah, definitely refer back to that quite a few times just to get used to how to handle the Skype groups. Speaking of Skype, I would not have it open on your computer. I would have it open on your cell phone because it actually slows down the video and it makes it more like laggy to have both Skype and your lessons going. And so having on your cell phone is good. And then also, like, I didn't have internet a couple days ago. For an hour, my internet provider just decided to reset their system. But I have my mobile data, so I was able to Skype the firemen from my cell phone using my mobile data. I haven't yet done hotspot. I've heard that hotspot actually works really well. If you are somewhere where you don't have any internet, you don't have Wi-Fi, but you have data, if you have the hotspot feature on your cell phone provider, which I don't, I think it's an extra like 20 bucks a month, so I didn't want to do it. You can actually use that as like a backup internet. And it doesn't use, I guess, that many gigs, like half a gig per lesson. So in a pinch, it shouldn't kill your data. I think that's awesome because cancellations really suck. If you have them, you don't want them. Okay, the third place you can look is the Skype group called like troubleshooting. But I would try to use that for more quick questions that you have. Just ask a quick question, you get a quick answer. It's really nice. But try to avoid having really long conversations in there with one other person because then everybody else in the group has to like scroll past your chatting to get to actual questions that people are asking. So, but another resource that you can look to is the email that you received when you were first hired, which has a bunch of training materials in it. Also, the training materials are on Freshdesk, and if you go onto YouTube, their YouTube channel, it's called VIPKID Education, has like 13 or so videos that you can watch that are good. And you can also watch other teachers do their thing. They've got sample lessons on there of other teachers, so I use that to kind of know even how to teach certain slides. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that on a training video. So anyways, I hope this helps you feel more confident as a new teacher at VIPKID. I love working here. I just quit my previous job at the call center. And now I get to just stay home with my 1-year-old. I do this while he's sleeping. My husband works, so it just works out really well. It really couldn't be a better job. I know the biggest concern for new teachers is just the booking rates. I can tell you how my booking rates have gone. My first week, I got 13 classes, which only 2 of my availabilities did not fill. My second week, I got 23 classes. Again, 2 of them did not fill up. My third week, I got 20 classes. They were all full. All the ones I put down filled up. And so far this week, I only have 17. Which it's because I'm going on vacation for 4 days, so I didn't want to work like 4 days. And then next week I have only 14. I'm hoping that next week starts to fill in more. I still have 20 available spots next week, so I'm like, I mean, it's only Monday, so I know the parents just barely got on there to select teachers, so I need to just be patient. But if you are wanting a ton of hours at first, then it might take a little bit of time before you get completely full. But you know, like I said, market yourself, make a recording of yourself or something. I did that this morning. Do a good job teaching every single time. Give good feedback to the students. That the parents are the ones reading that, so make sure it's something that the parents would want to hear about their student. And you know, you will eventually get those repeat students and increase your booking rates. One last thing you can do is the Skype group up for grabs. They've got, you know, if you're willing to just sit there and as soon as you see it, say, yes, I'm available. That's how people have been able to get more classes than they got booked for. But you have to just kind of be patient and sit and wait be the first one to say yes when they say there's an available class. All right, well, enjoy teaching at VIP Kid, and again, this is Teacher Stephanie. Bye.